Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Moriah Thomas and I'm the founder and CEO of the Alpha Coaching and Consulting, and I have designed my own military to civilian transition program that addresses the mental aspect of the transition. So quick show of hands, who thought they were mentally prepared to go to boot camp? No? Who found out they weren't mentally prepared to go to boot camp? All right, it's the same thing when veterans get out. So from the time that you enter basic training as a veteran, you're told that you are not a civilian anymore. Mentally, you become something beyond a civilian. And the biggest impact of that is the psychological impact. And so the current transition program does not cover the mental aspect of the transition. It only covers the basics, such as resume writing and entrepreneurship. So the expectation is that because you were a civilian before, you should be able to go back to being a civilian, but that's not how it works. And the biggest impact of that is the negative mental impact, and that leads to veteran homelessness, suicides, and other emotional negative impacts. So the solution I've designed, my husband is a Marine and he made the slides, so forgive him. No, I'm just kidding. My solution is a program, and I combine psychological theories, different psychological disciplines and techniques, and I combine them with industrial and organizational psychological concepts. I'm a combat veteran, my husband is a combat veteran, and so I've lived these things. It's not just theory. And then I developed a program that is psychologically strategic, and I based it on my current qualitative research. So how the solution works right now is that it is a one-on-one. It's 6 sessions. Each session takes around an hour and a half apiece. I cover strategic psychological concepts, and each individual I work with so far, they get an individual focus on their military transition. So the results of my program is that it creates awareness and self-awareness. They gain better assimilation attainment, and they're armed with the knowledge to adapt and overcome. So it mitigates the negative mental impact I had talked about before. So my target market for my pilot program, which I'm doing right now, is retirees. In phase 2, I would like to scale it to all veterans. My major risks is that I will not be able to scale to meet demand because I'm the only one doing the program right now. I know it's going to take off, so that's a risk for me. For scalability, I'm doing my pilot program. Beyond that, I could do several things, which I've not decided. Train the trainer, a video series, or a smart device app. So the current team only consists of myself and my advisory team right now. So my team has plenty of room to grow. Try not to fall asleep. My background is I'm a Marine Corps combat veteran. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, a master's in clinical mental health counseling, and I'm a practicing mental health counselor. I have a master's degree in IO psychology, a PhD in IO psychology with a specialization in leadership coaching and development. Everybody awake? My advisory board consists of my husband, Lieutenant Colonel Robert Thomas, USMC retired, Colonel Robert Castro, USMC retired, and the Veteran Entrepreneurship Initiative staff. So my business has not made any money for a very specific reason, but how I'm going to make money is through program sales, direct program sales, the potential for SBIR grants, partnerships with the VA, DoD, and other organizations such as that. Because I have a doctorate in IO psychology, I can do organizational consulting and then other types of coaching sessions as well. So for the first year, through the pilot program, I'm not charging the veterans going through the pilot program. So this is, so year 2 is where I could make more money, and that would be through SBIR grants or partnerships with the other organizations. Year 3 would be SBIR grant on the second scale, and then to scale digitally through the smart device app. So my business is very new. I opened it on February 4th, 2022. So since that time, as it relates to traction, I have written and developed my program. I started my pilot program, which I received fantastic feedback so far. And I'm always learning. I'm an eternal student, so I'm learning how to become a board certified coach. So the potential of my program is, the positive impact is really unlimited. So my vision is to create positive social change for all military veterans by eliminating the existing psychological gap and thereby limiting the negative consequences that are created by the current military to civilian transition system. So capital would be for initial startup costs that have already incurred and scaling. So I'm also looking for strategic partners and ambassadors for my program. Thank you very much.
Hi.
Hi.
So first of all, thanks for all that and for being here and doing this. From what I understand, your focus is not so much on the difficulties in transition from an employment standpoint, but really from a social standpoint.
Yes, that's correct. Because there are, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, please.
There are many, many great organizations that already help people with their resumes and getting employed and even like mental health retreats. So I'm really bridging the gap between using IO psychology between that all of the organizations that exist, I'm bridging a gap between them. So I'm addressing the mental aspect.
Well, and the reason I ask that is because where my question is leading is there are as many opinions about what's wrong with the transition as there are people trying to solve them. So where did you develop, what basis did you use for the development of your program? What problem did you find, what problem or problems did you find you're trying to solve? Without us being here for an hour.
Sure.
I'm sure
I'll try. So I conducted my dissertation on the loss of social identity and organizational socialization for retired military officers. So when people transition out of the military, they lose their social identity, and that's the second term is just fancy term for the military culture. And I'm really talking about the concepts that happen, what that really means, right? So I can tell you you've lost your social identity, but I also have strategic topics that I cover that tell you what that means. So I create awareness of those. So even my program is designed for people to be fully set up mentally after they leave my program, but even if they need more help, like if they want to see a mental health counselor or somebody at the VA, they have the tools and the language they need to know what they want to ask for help with, right? So people are angry or sad and they're not quite sure why. I create an awareness and I give them the tools and the knowledge to be able to ask for more help if they need it.
Do you have evidence that DOD is putting money in the cyberspace to award the grant that you pursue?
I know that they are doing veteran suicide prevention. I know they do a lot of that. So while I don't directly address that, I do believe that the concepts I cover lead to suicide. So if I address the root issue of why people are committing suicide, I do believe suicides will be reduced.
Thank you.
Another question for
Yes.
you, just because this is so near and dear to me, and I imagine a lot of others. What I'm hearing is you may be familiar, and I'm old, so I don't remember the guy's name, but there was a TED Talk with the individual who wrote the book Tribe.
Tribe.
Yes. Have you read that before?
Yes, Simon Sinek.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So because it sounds like that's what you're trying to set folks up for, to realize that they're coming from a very tribal environment in the military and coming out, and that tribalness is gone, and therefore they feel lost.
Yes.
That's
so one
the
of the major losses is the loss of belonging. That's what most people, now they call it different things, right? They call it, I don't get a free suitcase on the airplane anymore. I can't wear my uniform anymore. I don't get to, go drinking with my buddies on the weekend anymore. So they name different things, and so I'm putting clarity on these things. And I also have ways for them to move forward, strategies to move forward
Sure.
with those things.
Okay, now let's talk some finances.
Okay?
All right, so you had some, fairly lofty ambitions there, and that's great. Obviously, you're not, primarily not charging service members directly for this, but you're trying to, partner with organizations who would support this and would help fund your efforts? Is that what I understand?
Yes, and I had to put a slide up there, but I don't love it because it's not a lack of opportunities, it's the right opportunity, right? So I don't want to grab at all the money that's out there. I want to make sure they're the right opportunities. And it's very, very important to me that I do not charge the veterans for something they should already be getting. So this is a missing piece of the transition puzzle, and I do not want veterans to have to pay for that. So I'm looking for funding in other ways so that I can conduct the sessions and scale, and they get access to this stuff without them having to pay for it.
So how would you protect your intellectual property? How would you protect your program? Couldn't somebody just pick it up and replicate it?
Absolutely. So right now, for the people going through the pilot program, I have them sign an NDA just to be sure, although I do choose them carefully. And then I did speak with an intellectual property lawyer to see what I would need to do to protect it. He told me I needed to finish work. Right now, it's written, but not as in like a workbook format. So I would need to do that in order to protect it.
And then you said you're getting positive feedback from the initial participants.
Yes.
How long ago have they gone through the program?
I finished one maybe 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
He told me if he had had this he got out 5 years ago. He told me if he had had this program 5 years ago, his transition would have gone much better.
Got it.
Can't ask for better feedback than that.
How about it?
So you mentioned the risk that you have right now is that you're the only one, and your next phase would be able to create the content that you put online. Have you made any steps towards that or written any plan and what those costs would be to put that together?
I've looked into training the trainer. I would have to find a significant amount of money or sell the program and certify trainers. Or there's the potential for a video series, and then to integrate it into taps maybe, or after, like a plug-in taps and then an aftermarket thing. Or my favorite option right now is a smart device app, because I could use gamification and community involvement and self-reflection measures, and it would be available to the entire veteran population. What I'm looking at right now, that would cost about $11,000. But I'm speaking with different app developers at this point to choose the right one.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Every bone in my body on this one says, develop something unbelievable, develop something great, sell it as a product, reap the benefits of that, and then get it distributed out widely. You trying to scale enough to reach that amount of veteran population who might need that is probably unrealistic given your specialty. So develop, my gut says develop a very specialized thing that homes in on what the problem is, whatever that problem is. I'm no expert. And then get it distributed.
Well, I think we're all experts, right? We've all been through the transition, so we know what it's like to lose all of these things. I'm just putting labels on them.
Great, thank you very much.
Okay.